Alright, today's subject is a Vermeer BC625a brush chipper. This one is one of the ones in my own personal tool collection hoard, whatever you want to call it. I've got a lot of trees I want to take down on a couple properties, and I needed something a little bit bigger than what I had, but something that I could still tow with a mid-sized pickup truck, and this one just about fits the bill perfect. It's about 2,000 pounds. It tows pretty good behind that truck, and you can see it's fairly heavy. I've already sunk it into the ground with the trailer jack put on just dirt. Guess I should have seen that one coming. It hasn't rained here in weeks, and then rained really bad last night. So, guess that one should have seen that one coming. But anyway, it's a runner. It works. It looks like it's got all original paint and everything. But basically, what I'm going to do is just go through it a little more. I've already gone through it. I've already run it, chipped some wood with it. It's a little lacking on the power, if you ask me. So I'm just going to give it a full service, and you know, that way I get a chance to look at everything too. I also have some new chipper knives for it, which of course is going to help dramatically. You can never have too many horsepower on a machine like this, and dull blades are the last thing you'd want. This one's got like 25 horsepower Kohler on it, and it's got the hydraulic feed, which is the feature I was really hoping to get, and this one has it on there. So I'll take you around, just give you a little walk around. Hopefully I won't make you too dizzy, just to show you what I've done to it so far and what I've found. It's got the eye for the pintle hitch, and so I'm going to have to adjust the height of that. You can adjust it up and down to meet the height of your vehicle. Also the chains, when I got it, I had to use a much shorter. They had add these extensions on here with the with these coupler clasps, whatever you call it. I forget what you call those. And I only needed the short part put on that. Also, this one only has the 7 flat plug, which is, you know, the RV or the industrial style. I don't think this has its own brakes, so it's really just being used for the taillights, I believe. I'm going to have to go through these wires. It looks like, yeah, we're only running 4 wires, so it's probably left, right, running lights, and I don't know. I'll have to look into it. But these, you know, they've been taped and patched up here, and you know, I'll probably just put a 4 flat on it because that's all I'm going to ever run anyway. Yeah, it's got the jack that swivels out of the way. Battery's completely dead that's on it. It's got electric start, of course. So far all I've done is I've gone through and I've greased the zerks for the main bearings. Greased the plate here. There was several zerks on that. Where did I find those? Were they in here? No, here. And I don't know, there was 2 or 3 there. This is the hydraulic feed. Fairly simple system. I'm going to go around the other side to explain that, in case anybody's not familiar. The motor, off the back of the motor, underneath that guard, is running the main belt for the main chipper wheel. And off this side, it's got another shaft that runs the hydraulics. And all this hydraulic pump does, it goes over here to the speed control. You can set the speed. Right now I'm not sure. I guess you can lock it in place with this wheel, but it doesn't turn, so I'm going to have to get that going. But anyway, this is the speed control. You can just manually adjust how fast you want it to feed. And then over here is a bar connected to a hoop all the way around, and it's got 3 positions here: neutral, feed in, feed out. So if you got a jam or something, I guess you'd feed out. So I'm using my hand here. Nobody can see what I'm doing. You can pull that, and by pulling back and forth on this, you can tell it which direction you want. And of course, you'd want to start it in neutral. What's interesting about this one is it's got an auto feed system, and it looks like this solenoid, it must watch for when the RPM of the engine, it cuts out when the RPM gets too low and stops the feed, lets the wheel catch up, lets the motor, you know, work, get the wheel to catch back up, then re-engages automatically. So you don't have to sit there and try to nurse it. It won't keep bogging down on you. It'll just go and stop, go a little bit, stop, go a little bit, stop. Every time the speed of the engine decreases, it kicks out. So I guess that's kind of handy. Yeah, like I say, pump, forward and this is a flow control unit, and then forward and reverse, and then it just goes down to the motor, the hydraulic motor, that is. And then I'll come around here on the back. This just flips it down. There you can see I got some remnants in there. The wheels are pretty sharp on that yet. Luckily, I was a little concerned that those might be dulled out and I'd have to take it apart before I could really use it, but they seem to be grabbing just fine, and they look sharp just looking at them by eye. Let's see, how many hours does this have? It's got, you can't see that because the camera is not focusing, but 1,271 hours. The only thing I really have to fix, to use the word fix versus maintain, is this is your throttle control, and you see how it wants to spring right away, and as you're running it, it creeps down. This is the choke here, but there's a little notch that this is supposed to fall into. It's supposed to be kind of spring loaded down there, and I think that's not supposed to be bent like that, and it just, you know, is useless right now. As soon as you rev it up, it just instantly starts creeping back down. So that's the main, if I had to call it a problem, that's really the only problem I've noticed. The other thing I noticed was on the linkages here. Where was that? It's been a few days since I've had this. Somehow these two linkages were hitting each other, and I may not have been giving it full speed, so I've gone and bent the one out of the way. I can't remember which one, but now that's working properly. As far as other stuff I've already done, I've greased these zerks here. This whole unit rides up and down. These springs help give it some return, and I've greased all the zerks. I just wanted to make sure I went through everything, because you never know when the last time somebody else has done it, especially if they know they're getting rid of it. So basically, I'm just going to go through this. I've already ordered some stuff. I'm going to do some basic maintenance and get this thing up to snuff. Alright, so I'm going to start with the easy stuff. Basic maintenance items. Outer filter. It's not terrible, but I got a new one for both. Inner filter. I don't think I need to reuse this foam thing. Nope, probably not. There's signs that it rained last night. Still in there. Got my new inner and outer filter here. I didn't realize these fit so tight. Okay. The inner one's kind of a cloth filter, whereas this is a standard wire cloth. And I'm gonna have to look that up. I thought this might should have the little duckbill thing on the bottom to let the water out. I'm gonna look that up to see if I'm missing that, or if it just doesn't need one on this. It's marked up here, so we'll we'll use that. Except if you put it too far one way, you can't get the clip on. There we go. Air filter done. And then the next one is a hydraulic filter. This has a very small hydraulic system, I'm sure. Probably not much chance of it being contaminated with anything, but it's hanging out under there, easily accessible, so I'm going to grab that off there. I didn't even look this one up, I just bought the same filter that was on there. I'm sure it's the right one. Well, I'm hoping it's the right one, right? And that one's going to need a wrench. Be right back. Poked right through it. Nice job, dumbass. Plan B. Got it. Alright, now I'm back to the engine. Kohler Command pro25, and I'm going to change the spark plugs. Probably anyone would know how to do this, but just show you what I'm doing here. It's the little one. Don't get to use the little one very often. Oh boy, that baby's in there. Holy cow. Don't over tighten them, folks. Really. And it looks like we've been getting a good clean burn. Nice gray pattern there. A little bit black, but not too bad. Alright, in this case I'm going to put in some E3 plugs, E322s. This does take the bigger size socket then, but in case these do increase horsepower on a wood chipper, you can never have too much. So even if it was a small increase, I'm gonna use the extra $2 a plug or whatever it is to get these ones put in there. Probably more than $2, isn't it? Well, anyway, I had them in stock, so let's use them, huh? And I won't go like the last guy and go ape crazy on it. That's a 1. Bring you around to a different angle for shot number 2. Won't work with that extension on it, will it? Oh, that one was in there pretty good too. And yes, folks, that's thunder in the background. We've been having the weirdest weather ever. It's not raining at all. There's a cloud just to my east, heading towards the east, away from me, which has thunder associated with it. Don't ask me. And this one is a little blacker than the other, not as gray. So this one may be burning a little oil on this side. Get it started by hand here. Not sure if that started just right. Let's try that again. Now I know it did. There we go. Make sure that goes on all the way. Yes, it did. I just found a little nut off of something, possibly off of these. Maybe they were changing the blades one day. Keep that. Probably metric or something. Alright, spark plugs, brand new. Okay, next thing on this project is, here's the fuel tank. Fuel line, backwards fuel filter. Goes up to a rather dry and crusty, I don't know if you can see the particles coming off of my hand, dry and crusty fuel line. Goes to the fuel pump. Very simple to replace. Let's do that just for reliability purposes. And I don't really like these worm gear clamps. I like to have the spring clamps instead. I think they just hold better. Alright, got the 1/4 inch out. When I replace it with new line, I'm going to put the filter way up towards the engine. That's going to be a better idea in case the line itself breaks down internally. You know, it filters the tank nice, but anything that comes out of the line could still go through. So we'll just try to do that a little smarter. That's been on there a while. There we go. I'm just going to get the spring clamp put on there ahead of time. Brand new spring clamp, brand new line. Put it back about that far, then you could just easily drag it forward. Let me get you on a better angle there. I think we're up here now. Yeah. Okay. Trying to see how I want to route this so we don't get anything sharp. We want to get our filter up here close to the pump. Closer to the pump than it was before for sure. I'm going to start by just cutting it here. We'll get a clamp on this part, on this side, that I'm going to put on the fuel pump first. And we'll work our way back to the tank. I just prefer these spring clamps because they seem to have an all-around grip, whereas the worm gear ones, they're not truly concentric, whatever you want to say. They don't give an even, and when if the tubing was to shrink, they can't move with it. This one always has a little pressure because of the spring action of the clamp itself, so I like that. Kind of just measuring by eye. I try to get them all the way in there. Less chance of a leak. Let's see where this wants to go so we don't have it rubbing on something. Right about there. Brand new clamp. I'll bring you around to show you what I've done here. I know you couldn't see the whole thing. So we've got our tank, brand new clamp, running up to the line, new clamp, and I think I've put the filter on backwards like the last moron. Bring you back. Like as I was saying, fuel tank, new fuel clamp, new fuel line, comes right up, new clamp, properly installed directional fuel filter, new clamp, new line, new clamp into the OEM fuel pump. And because this is for me, I like to have fuel shutoffs on everything so I could run the carburetor dry. Like something like this would be used seasonally, and for 3-4 months nobody's going to go back to it, especially because I'm the owner. I know that. I'm going to put in a fuel shutoff right here, and that is going to aid me. Can shut it off, run the engine till it dies, and then I know at least the carburetors don't have a bunch of nasty old gas sitting in them. And take number 3. So I put the fuel shutoff right here. That way I can change the filter if I need to. I can shut it, run it dry, and it won't be leaking if I change the filter. And I have a way to run my engine dry, which I like to do in off-season storage. So we are now complete with the fuel system. Alright, now I got the booster pack on. Let's just run it a little bit, get it heated up, and give her an oil change. I could hear the hydraulic pump whining, probably because it doesn't have any fluid, so I'll give it out the air from the hydraulic filter. Give it an oil change, then we'll work on the throttle system. Alright, I got you looking down, got a drain pan down there, got our oil drain here. I heated it up. I like to stir the oil all up before I change it. Gets all the contaminants off the bottom, hopefully. Ooh boy, she's tight. This is a flexible hose, so you got to hold back on the other one. Oh wow, yeah, plan B. Bigger wrenches, maybe? More appropriate size wrenches, how about that? Yep. I'm going to try to pull the drain plug out, or the fill plug, and see if it glugs easier. No, just took that out. It just runs slow for whatever reason. Okay, guess it's going to be a while. Bring you back. So the oil filter on this one is right here. It's a real bad angle for me to get a tripod set up here, so I'm just going to take it off, and you'll just have to believe me. And because I was sunk in the mud, the engine oil wasn't draining fast enough, or so I thought that's why it was, because it was tilted forward. Now it just drains ridiculously slow. Alright, got the oil filter on, and we'll just give it a new, I guess you can't put your funnel down there very deep. We'll just give it some fresh oil. Okay, so I got the oil refilled, runs perfect. Probably idles a little lower than it really should for a twin, so I'll probably bump that up a little bit. But the main problem that I'm having with, at least with runnability, is the throttle will not stay in its position, and you want these running at full speed all the time, and it won't do it. And that, folks, isn't going to fly. I don't know how they were running this thing. I don't see any bungee cords, anything. I don't even know how a person could run this at half throttle. It wouldn't work at all. So let's dig into that and see. I think it's just that this is bent, but it could be more. We'll dig in and see what we can find on this Kohler Command 25 Pro. Alright, I'm just going to pull this screw here and this one here, and let's see if it gets us access down there. Maybe we can look at this a little better, get it opened up a little bit. Don't know if this is the right way to go in here, but let's go it. Let's do it. So, okay, that just takes this out. I was hoping, yeah. I want to be able to get at the idle screw for this anyhow, wherever that is. let me find that idle screw and I'll bring it back. Yeah, it looks like I found the idle stop screw. It's this guy here. And actually, I'm going to fix that first and then we'll get back to this part. So I think I just missed a little part of that video. Anyway, I took the screws out that went through there. This plate came up. This comes up separately. And I was going to adjust the idle. I'll show you how I did that. Let me turn my booster pack on. And it doesn't go. Let's try that again. Okay, booster pack engaged. Here's my idle screw that I got my screwdriver on right now. I just think it should be a little higher. I want good oil pressure. The thing on the chippers is that's when you're engaging your the blades. So you want it pretty slow, but not so slow that you don't have good oil pressure to protect your engine good. I'm just going by ear. I'm going to leave it right there. Kill my booster pack here. Good. Now I'm going to work on this throttle thing. Now it just looks like it's bent to me, like somebody just bent it. Something got stuck on it, I don't know. But this part, it just won't stay over there no matter what you try. And it's supposed to drop down into that groove. There's a little protrusion on the back, on the bottom of this that they punch through. It's just supposed to lock in there and it's not doing it. So I think it's just a matter of bending this a certain way. Let me try that. So let me get you zoomed in there on the apparatus. Now that we can actually see what the heck I'm talking about. This thing is actually riveted from a bolt on the top, riveted to the bottom. So there's only a certain amount of drag that's going to create. It's a matter of getting that little notch that they punch down through. Let me get that in focus here. Let me get that in frame here. Getting that little notch that they punch down through this throttle plate, it's a matter of getting that to drop down in there, and then it'll stay at full throttle. But it doesn't do it because it's bent up. It's got no detent at all. So let me try doing some bending there, and I'll bring you back. I usually wouldn't show this because it's a little bit of a rough repair. A proper repair probably would be replace this, leave the two cables for both the choke and the throttle as is and replace this piece. But sometimes maybe a repair is just as good. You can get it going today and maybe you don't need to buy the parts. So I'm going to try bending it where I think it needs to be bent back. Maybe the bigger pliers here, adjustable wrenches would be more suitable. I'm going to try just bending that where it would be straight again. Let's start there and see where that gets us. Something changed from the way it was. We'll put it back how it was before that got changed. Somebody bent this by accident, or maybe they thought that would give them more detent, but it literally gave them no detent. Let's see what happens here. Let me get on the end of this. Maybe I can bend it from here. No, it's bending in the middle. If I get it there, will that do it? Okay, that got the main thing, but the whole thing now is going uphill. Now, does that fall in there? Absolutely not. So that whole thing has to be bent down. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this rod out of here. I think that's what's holding me from getting a good grip down where I need to get. I shouldn't show this because it's pure hackery, but it's what happens when you're not going to really buy a new one, because I'm not really going to buy a new one. I'm going to fix the one I have here. Now this whole thing needs to go down, and I'm talking about 1/8 of an inch, and the problem is the only thing that holds it is the pin. It rotates on the pin there. So let's see. Can I bend this whole thing down? It bends everywhere except right at that junction. So anyway, more hackery to come off camera, and I will bring you back. This isn't really a tutorial of how to, it's how I'm doing it. Okay, I think I'm going to take this off, this choke too, the choke and the throttle. Take them both out. This one goes to the top, which is the choke. Let me see if I can get that out of there. A little bit mysterious. Now it's stuck out the other way. Let's see. Boy, it's not easy to get that out of there. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to show you a bit of my hackery anyway. I said I wouldn't. It's just a matter of trying to bend it the right way. I mean, it was flat years ago when it was working. There's got to be a way to get it back there. I'm going to go over. I'm going to go too much. Now it's sticking upwards. It is still not dropping down. Now if I get this whole thing to bend down, maybe I'll be better. So let me try getting in here. Bending. Man, that's tough metal. If I bend all the way down, will it? No, it still won't go in its little hole there. It's still got some room to go, like another 1/16 of an inch, and it's not dropping in. Okay, I'll admit to having lots of iterations and ideas and things that aren't working, but I took the plate. I finally got it loose from the choke cable. I'm going to try to work with it loose rather than having the cable in there. Now I can move it freely wherever I want and hopefully get this thing bent down in the position where it springs in there, springs down into the position where it likes to stay in that little groove. But so far, no luck. Alright, full disclosure, I have not been able to successfully get that back, and I have cracked it because I was putting a pry bar, a screwdriver, let's say it, under there and trying to hammer this piece down, and now I see why the original owners weren't able to fix it, because it's screwed. I'm gonna look to see how much this part is. If it's somewhat reasonable, I'm gonna just order a brand new one, and then I'm gonna have that nice detent just like I want, and it won't creep down. And sometimes OEM is just fine as long as the price is right. So like I said, I'm going to look into this. I don't know if this is the number for the sticker or the number for the actual part, but 2411392 is the number on that. I assume that's a sticker itself, but I just can't seem to get this to really want to drop down even in that little groove right where it's supposed to be, even though the groove is broken now. I still can't get it. So sometimes you have to admit to defeat and pay the piper. Alright, on this Vermeer BC625a, the last thing I want to do, I got some brand new blades, knives for it, and I'm going to try to put those in. I've never done one before on this type of chipper. Please follow along and let's see if we can get this done. Full disclosure, I've never done one on this kind. As I said before, I believe this whole thing tips out of the way with the entire snorkel attached to everything. Pivots on that rod there, unbolts from there, and pivots back out of the way. I believe that's how it goes. If not, it'll be kind of heavy to lift that off there. Let's see how it goes. I'm going to start on the far side here, because I believe that's how it goes. There's nylock nuts on 9/16 inch bolts, or 9/16 bolts that take a 9/16 socket, let's say that. And I can't quite get that on there. Let's see. There we go. It's stuck. Pull the bolt out. Perfect. Let's see if my idea of pivoting this out of the way is the right way. Nope. I'm going to pull the pin and see if that helps. Why wouldn't that just fall off? Because it's on a rotating. Okay, we got this. Perfect. It's made to it's made to pivot on, let me get my finger lined up, that bolt, and it's made to stop when that hits the outside. Perfect. Okay, for the first time I just got to look at these, and they're actually not terrible. There's nicks in them, but they're not terrible. But because I've already bought a new pair, I'm going to go ahead and change them anyway, and that'll give us the most power out of our 25 horsepower Kohler Command that can be had. So we'll have a set of used ones available as a backup, or I just sharpen them and make them like new again. Alright, back here at the chipper disc, it looks like they're double nutted and they're 7/8 inch sockets. So let's see if we can get. Oh yeah, she comes right off. Beautiful, beautiful. How am I going to get down there? I don't know. Try to take the secondary nut off, and I don't have a deep socket here, but I'm going to make it a deep socket. Let's see if it'll let go there. Not easily. Sure she does. That one came all the way off easily. secondary one came off easily. Now the third one, I'm not quite sure how you're supposed to get down there to get at that angle. That's kind of interesting. Let's assume they had the same problem we did. What would they have done? They would have removed this whole front panel. That's kind of interesting. I don't think a wobble adapter is gonna get me where I need to go. Let me look at this and see how I'm gonna do it. Let's see if just hammering real quick on that. Nothing beats an impact for stuff that's stuck, but oh yeah, she comes off. The lock comes off easy anyway. Let's see how the regular one comes off. My guess is that's how they probably put these ones on. Not as tight as the top two. Yeah, that she comes loose. Good. Beautiful. So glad that's how that works. And these plates are just a backer. These don't really do anything. The blade is what does the work, of course. And the blade has a taper on it where the bolt tapers into it, which is a large hex size. I'm not sure what the size is right now, but luckily those all came out perfect on this blade. Look at that, it comes right out. And like I say, that one wasn't really that bad. I'm just changing it because I've already bought a pair of brand new ones, and why not run the new ones that you have, and these be your backups, or you get these sharpened, however. But they have several dings that would make them not as good as new. Oops, went past it. Same thing on this one. And of course now the heavier side is the top side because that has the blade and the adapter. So let's keep that up here. Got that one clean off. The lock. The regular one comes by hand. How lucky can we be? That's the first one. I'm going to set this up here just to get it out of my way so I don't knock it into the hole. Lock comes off nicely. Let's try for the regular. Sure it does. We're getting lucky on these ones. I wouldn't expect them to come off this easy. Alright, and the manual, last one. And it comes right off. Beautiful, beautiful. So thankful for that. And the mosquitoes are out. Do you see the mosquitoes in front of the camera there? Maybe not. Unbelievable. Pretty late in the season for those guys. Oh yeah, she came loose, I think. beautiful. Unbelievable. It came off like a dream. And if you can't tell, I'm kind of losing light right now, so I'm hoping, oh, and I just dropped that one right down there. Kind of losing light now, so I might have to get a flashlight out here and finish up this video. I'm sure you can pretty much figure out. I'm just going to bolt the brand new blades on that I bought, but hopefully you can see it also. One thing I've noticed over the years is what looks out of place in a typical toolbox, and this is a magnetic. It's got a multi-way thing there for fishing down into parts and stuff. It looks out of place in your toolbox. You think, I won't use that. But today, on a day where you dropped a big nut down there and you need to get it, there's really no other tool that's going to work. Maybe those little grabbers with the little fingers on them. But I'm fishing down there, and I'm going to get that nut that I dropped without having to have a catastrophe happen here. And I'm not on it yet. And I am now on it, and it will not let go of that washer. That there was no way other way of me reaching my hand in there to get. So never underestimate the power of a tool that you barely use. Now I'm going to compare the new blades to the old blades. Old blades, I don't know what angle. 60, 45, don't know. New blade, much more angle, making me think that, let me get these backs lined up, making me think that these have been sharpened probably beyond their normal service life, and that these new ones may perform way better just because they're cut back way farther. This was like a 45. This is, I don't even know the angle here. I don't have an angle finder to find out. But I'm just saying these are the replacement blades for the OEM, and my guess is the OEM has been sharpened several times, and that's just the lazy man's way of sharpening them at a lesser angle than what is required or what is recommended by the manufacturer. So I have the brand new ones. They come with brand new bolts, brand new nuts, everything. So we're going to put those on. I don't mind using OEM aftermarket replacements if they cost way less. So here's what I've noticed about the aftermarket replacements. They come with brand new bolts, brand new nuts, and they're nylock nuts. They're not double nutted with standard nuts. Makes me think that's a higher quality build, and brand new washers. So let's put them on. Let's try them out. Oh yeah. Brand new bolt. Holy crap, those are sharp. Now what I'm noticing is, if I put it this way, these holes are slightly offset to one side. They were originally to that side. I'm going to do it the same. There's no reason not to. If you have the bolts offset to one side, the holes I should say, in the backer plate put them back to the same side they were on. There was probably a reason for that. Actually, let me put the nut on first, because they come with nuts. And then the brand new nylock nuts. And I do like these. These are the cadmium plated, the goldish type finish. And that really sells me, because that tells me that they're thinking about corrosion and preventing corrosion, which is really a good thing. Put a wash, and I dropped the washer. There's my magnetic tool again. Because of my clumsiness, saves my day again. Got it. Beautiful. Saves the day. You may not have that in the middle of a forest when you're trying to clear some land, but I've got one here, luckily. Fix it before you go out there, hopefully. Beautiful. And then I will rotate it around, get the second one out. And these aftermarket blades actually come, I'm actually proud of them. They put this proper cut guard on there. It not only protects the blade, but protects it from poking through when they're shipping it. Pretty good idea. And these holes are exactly made for those bolts. So use the ones it comes with. Oh, forgot the backing plate again. This time I'm going to face it the right way the first time. Yes, I am. Washer. Proper nylock nut, so you don't need two nuts. There we go. Get those started. Alright, now let me get my giant Allen wrench, and then I'll tighten them from the rest of the way from this side. Alright, this takes the largest one I have in my standard pack, which is 3/8 inch for the male hex key, hex wrench. So let's go with that. Same socket we had before. Could use a deep socket on this one. Plenty tight. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. Let me get that socket. Let me get that hex wrench out of the hole that it was in there, if I can. Bring it back. Got it onto the second one now. Getting this hex wrench into this male hole that it's in. just slipped out. Beautiful. Oh, that's tight. Try to get that wrench out of there. Not so easy. Okay. Number 3. Now this one is the one I had to do with the standard wrench on the other one because it's kind of down in a hole here. Let's see if we can get a hold of that with a 15/16 here. Did some reasonable job. I'll bring you back when I get this tight because I don't have a ratchet and I don't think a ratchet would fit in there. So I'll bring you back. Alright, off camera, 3 bolts, 2 blades, we're done. Let's get the guard put back on and get this out of the way. Tilt the chute up back in its original position. And let's find the 2 bolts that hold that on. And these are nylock nuts. Get the wrenches set up and I'll bring you back. Alright, back to the cover bolts for the housing bolts. Ooh, that's really tight. Can I get it off? Yes, I can. And that one I forgot to put the washer on. Do I have a washer? It had a washer. I'll find that washer. Can't find the original washer, but this stainless steel washer will have to do the trick. Still in reverse. There we go. Alright. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's how I got my BC625a running as good as it can. New blades, new engine oil, new filter, new hydraulic filter, New everything. As long as, you know, as far as service goes, that's a full service as far as I know, as far as also greasing all the grease joints and the main bearings and the chute bearings, things like that. I still need a new battery for mine. I have one. I'll put it in soon. And thanks for watching.